Everywhere he said, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. I was just reading a little Christmas story while sitting next to this very realistic looking fireplace here. You know, basic holiday stuff, I guess. Welcome to my little Christmas themed video. It's been a while since I've done a non-short film type video here, so I thought, hey, since it's Christmas, let's do something fun. Which reminds me, I have something to open. Got one of these little things here. Okay, let's see, what day? Here we go. Oh, wow! Look at that, Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces, is that how you say it? Reese's. Hey, Mom. How do you pronounce Reese's Pieces? Did I say it right? Reese's Pieces? Pieces or pieces?
Pieces.
Pieces. Okay. Thank you. I don't know if that's going to make the final cut, but here we go. During this time of the holidays is when people tend to reflect on things that happened this past year. And because I have free time right now, I felt, why not hop on the internet and share my opinion on things. Now, for those who didn't catch the title of this video, I am of course talking about movies. Now, according to my records here, this year I have seen a total of 209 films this year. 37 of those were 2025 releases, which 23 of those I liked and 14 I did not like. Now, instead of going through that whole list of films I liked and didn't like, I'll narrow it down to just the top 5 best and worst films of 2025, in my opinion. So sit back, relax, and grab yourself a festive drink as I go through these movies. And yes, this counts as a festive drink because it has some kind of Christmassy limited edition design on it. Therefore, it's Christmas. I'm going to go back and forth between films that I liked and didn't like and kind of keep that order as I start counting down. To start things off, in my number 5 spot for favorite film of this year goes to 28 Years Later. I had a lot of hype for this film and it definitely delivered. I liked it, as like a horror film, an action film goes, it definitely just delivered on everything that I would want out of a film like that, and even more so. It was very chaotic, it was very weird, and I was just all for it. It was great. Really liked the film, super fun. Number 5 of the worst goes to Lilo and Stitch. I did not like that movie. This is just one of those weird pet peeves that I have with movies regarding remakes. Unless you're doing something new for the better, why bother? Every single change that they made in this movie was made for the worse. It doesn't have the heart that the original had. I think the biggest problem was they changed who the villain was. I won't say this is really like a spoiler, but they made Jumba the bad guy, which just doesn't work at all for the story. It totally ruins it. I think making him the bad guy was just dumb, and it's really disappointing because the original Lilo and Stitch is really good. It is it's great. They could have just done a shot for shot remake of that, or just don't touch it at all. I like that they did at least bring back the original voice actor for Stitch, and I guess the only good things I have to say about this film is all the Stitch parts were good. I mean, if you just want to see Stitch being cute and funny, this movie will be fun, I guess, but other than that, the movie just kind of sucks. Number 4 on my favorite films of this year is this is very opinionated. No one's gonna agree with me probably. This is just a me thing, and that goes to Tron Ares. This movie to me was great. I know a lot of people didn't like this movie, and here's the thing. I think when it comes to the Tron franchise, I was a fan of Tron since I was like 10 years old. When I saw the first film, I loved it. I thought the visuals were cool and the story I thought was neat. I just liked the world that it was. The story of Tron Legacy, I'd say is not as nearly as good as the first Tron, but visually it's fun, and the soundtrack, the Daft Punk soundtrack just makes anything better. When it comes to Tron Ares, I thought in terms of story, I actually liked the story of it. I thought it kind of connected well, acknowledging certain events of both Legacy and the original Tron. The soundtrack, dude, this film is probably like my number one favorite movie soundtrack of the year. 9 Inch Nails, oh my gosh. But looking at like the Tron franchise, you either love these films or you don't, and looking at like the history of these films, they do kind of follow a pattern where they're box office flops and then they turn into cult classics. I guess the first film was a flop, but it's a cult classic now. Legacy was a flop. It's now considered a cult classic to some, and on certain areas of the internet, I've seen people are already kind of pointing out how Ares might follow the same pattern. It's a fun movie, a lot of cool visuals. It's a vibe. I love it. It's a fun movie, and it's not everyone's gonna like that, but I did. I enjoyed it. I've watched it a bunch of times already. It's a great film. I liked it. Tron is Tron, anything that's Tron, really, I love, Moving on to the number 4 spot of things that I didn't like this year goes to the film Novocaine. I was really disappointed by this film. A lot of the problems that I had with it was just, I feel like it overall didn't utilize its idea. It kind of had like a roadmap of this film could be something on par with like a John Wick or like the Nobody films, where it's like kind of over the top, insane action, but some of the action sequences were kind of crazy and cool, but it wasn't consistent enough for me. It was just kind of disappointing. Like, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, It's like the whole movie is about a guy who can't feel pain, and it's like there's a couple of scenes where the action really, like, okay, we're getting intense with it, but it was just like, for me, it was a letdown. I expected more of the film, and for me personally, it just didn't deliver. To keep things going, number 3 on my favorite list goes to Wes Anderson's Phoenician Scheme. This film, I know a lot of people were kind of like hit or miss with. I think a lot of people are either still on board with Wes Anderson films, and some people are just kind of tired of the format. This film, it has all of like the staple Wes Anderson moments, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it on my initial viewing of it. The more I watch it, I do find more things that I like about it. It's definitely one of those films where it definitely, it needs a rewatch for sure, just because there's so much detail that is missed because it's very fast-paced. I think out of all the Wes Anderson movies, this is probably his most fast-paced one, in my opinion. It's really fun. It's funny. I'd only recommend this to people who are a fan of Wes Anderson. I feel like if you've never seen a Wes Anderson movie before, this one's really just gonna be a little jarring for you, for sure. Moving on to number 3 on my worst films of 2025 goes to Good Boy. This one I was really disappointed by. The idea of a horror movie done in the POV of a dog is really interesting. This movie really didn't have a plot or anything. While there's scary stuff going on, it wasn't scary enough. A lot of this just goes to just personal tastes with me. People were saying that this was the scariest movie of the year, and when I hear that, I'm expecting it to be the scariest movie of the year, and for me, it just wasn't really that scary. There's a couple scenes where it's like a cheap jump scare, and it's just like, the movie doesn't have a plot, which I feel like movies are allowed to not have plot sometimes. You can have movies with unconventional, non-linear storytelling and it works, but like usually when it does work, there's often things that make up for it, whether it be just vibe or, there's a lot of cool dialogue or a lot of cool action or just something else to make up for that void. And this film, for me, it had a lot of voids that weren't made up with anything. The cinematography was good in some parts, but like there wasn't enough things to really make me like the film better. Anyway, in the number 2 spot of my favorite film this year goes to F1. This movie was something I was really surprised by. Going into it, I was just kind of blind. There's a lot of talk that F1 is good, but besides that, I had no really idea what this movie was going to be about or how good it was going to be. This movie was just a vibe. It's fun, great acting, it's got a great story, it's got great cinematography, it's got the soundtrack. Don't even get me started. This film is like, Tron was my favorite soundtrack of this year. This was my number 2 soundtrack. The opening theme and title card music, that's like, just as soon as that music hits and with the shots, it's just, you're like, okay, I'm in. Also, I'm just a big fan of the director of this film, Joseph Kosinski. What was it? He did Top Gun Maverick, Oblivion, and Tron Legacy. All his movies are just fun watches. I feel like, you could just walk in blind to any of his films and they're going to be fun. It's honestly a good movie. That being said, let's move on to number 2 of the worst films this year. That goes to Jurassic World Rebirth. This movie was bad. Like, not even like 5 minutes in, I was like already pissed. Spoiler alert, I'm going to break down to you how the movie opens. The movie opens where we're in this high-tech science facility. You see this guy eating a Snickers candy bar, and he just kind of casually does a little half-ass throwaway, lands on the ground. He's going through these like security kind of contamination door thing. Candy wrapper gets sucked into the vent, causes a little malfunction thingy. And then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, it releases the, weird, creepy looking dinosaur monster thing. And then he dies. And I'm just like, this is how we're starting off the movie. This whole problem starting off with a candy wrapper incident. Very stupid, very dumb, and I hate it. The rest of the film was also just really stupid. The whole point of the movie was these people are going back to this dinosaur island to collect DNA to help make medicine and stuff, which I feel like that was the plot of the movie that came out before that. They both have so many like similar plot points where it's like, okay, we're doing what now? The whole movie, I feel like the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies either need to stop or we just do a hard reboot reset. The movie was just bad. It sucked. I hated it. Now that we're at the number 1 spots for both categories, let's save the best for last, and I'll just start off with the number 1 worst film that I saw this year. The worst film of this year for me was Death of a Unicorn. This movie I was really excited for. I just think the concept sounded fun. The actors that are in it I liked, but like the execution of the film was just bad. It just sucked. The film had an identity crisis. It didn't know whether it wanted to be a horror film or a comedy film or a horror comedy or none of that. It sucked, and it was just really disappointing, Anyway, moving on to my number 1 favorite film of this year. I love the meme that's been going around online of like a bunch of film people arguing where it's like, what's the best film of this year? Is it One Battle After Another, or is it Sinners? Well, for me, it's Sinners. One Battle After Another, I did really like. It's in my top 10 spot somewhere. Sinners is definitely my favorite film of this year. This movie is so fun. You know, I love every single aspect about this film. In terms of like a horror film, this movie is great. You know, this thing, I've noticed this year for some reason I've been really enjoying a lot of like vampire-based horror films lately. And this movie definitely is my favorite vampire film. I don't know if I put this in my favorite vampire film of all time, but if I had to make a top 5 list of favorite vampire movies, it's definitely in that list of it, for sure. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's really good. It's on streaming on HBO, and they included there the IMAX aspect ratios. There's nothing much else to really say about Sinners that everyone else hasn't already said before. It's great, and, you know, it's great for, people are calling it great for a reason. It's fun. That about wraps it up for this little video here. You know, overall, I just wanted to just record a little something, you know, because I hadn't done that and I got the free time right now. This year has been a fun year. I made some short films, 2 of which you've probably seen, 1 of which is not yet publicly available, but I have some updates regarding that soon. I'm hoping overall maybe for a public release to happen in 2026. Follow me on social media. I'll have a thing here showing something of which ones to follow for just updates on things like that. Another little side project I've been doing is I started a podcast. Here's what it looks like. I only have 2 episodes out currently. The rest of the episodes will come out as a scheduled weekly release sometime next year. Thanks again for just spending your part of your Christmas day with me, or if you're watching this after Christmas, just thanks for just clicking on this video, hearing me yap for a little bit. You know, it means a lot. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and yeah, I'll see you guys next year. Happy holidays. Peace.